Before we start the music, introduce yourself.
My name is Daniel Lopatin. What am I shilling for? All kinds of stuff. Marty Supreme. I made the music.
I'm gonna play you some 80s songs.
Hit me. All my instincts. Damn. Peter Gabriel.
Yes, it is.
Peter Gabriel is singular. He's, first of all, his origin from one of the great British prog bands, and then breaking away from that, and Phil, the drummer, going on to his own solo career, Peter going his way, and it's the story of art rock becoming the music of the 80s and new wave. But I think the art rock aspect and the prog aspect of Peter Gabriel carried on in the 80s, and he's just so innovative. He scored films. He worked with the Fairlight, which is a synthesizer that changed the way we think about sampling and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, he's amazing. And he just writes very beautiful. He's a balladeer. My favorite stuff of his is the slow stuff like You Played Me.
That record has a combination. It still has the electronic stuff, but it's got like a soul.
Yes.
Like a kind of R&B feel to it, too.
That's right.
Which is cool.
He's a romantic.
1986, VMA, Music Video of the Year, Sledgehammer.
You could have a steam train if you just lay down your tracks.
Amazing song.
You know, with like the train like going around his head.
Great
like
video.
Crazy stop motion.
Yeah, that's right.
You're 1 for 1.
All right.
Well done.
Good. Thank you.
Let's do another song.
All right. Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears.
Big part of Marty Supreme.
There's iconic needle drop moments in Marty Supreme. You're responsible?
It's all kind of in a big soup in this film, in the sense that it inspired so much of the score, because when I read the script, I was on a long plane ride, and Josh and Ronnie sent me the script, and I had Wi-Fi on the plane. I read the whole thing and basically just wrote this long-form poem to them about how I felt about the movie and what it was about, and they were writing back, and we were just like falling in love with the idea of the score. Tears for Fears was actually written into the score. It was sort of the encapsulation of the film, and it was, in a way, the punctuation at the end of the film, as it was in the score, in the screenplay. But that changed quite a bit. But we kind of worked backwards from that idea of thinking about Marty Mauser, Timothée Chalamet, as a young man who has a vision for himself and a dream of himself in the future, and that he may one day be a middle-aged guy in the mid-'80s looking back at his life. That gave us a lot of permission to play with music from that time.
I was going to ask you this question. Yeah. You went there yourself. The movie takes place in the 50s.
Yeah.
Soundtrack is very 80s.
Yeah.
There's like these driving synth lines throughout the whole thing that help raise the level of anxiety.
Yeah, it's an adventure movie on some level. It's a sports movie. It can be quite thrilling. Sometimes the scene requires a little extra combustion. But what I really like about a lot of that stuff from the 80s is the digital keyboard sounds, digital vibraphone sounds. They're like mallets, like really short sounds. A lot of it's in Tears for Fears. You hear that kind of stuff in a lot of 80s music, but we use that stuff to kind of mirror and amplify Marty as a table tennis player, because it's, you know, it's a stick with a ball at the end of it. It's a mallet. So those short digital sounds from those 80s keyboards are perfect for that.
And it's like Pong, like the video game.
Yeah. Back at the pad, it's
like
a paddle, little paddle and a ball. Mallets.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
2 for 2.
Cool.
What's next?
All right, so we're talking about The Cure.
Yeah.
The best part is that little bell. Man, no one ever asked me about The Cure. I've never talked about The Cure.
Really?
I grew up with an older sister who was 9 years older than me, born in 73. So she was the full-on MTV generation. She was kind of gothy, grungy, cool older sister. And so I would just watch videos with her all day. She'd watch 120 minutes and all that kind of stuff.
Here's the latest Cure video. Friday, I'm in love.
Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday, I'm in love.
The Cure was just sort of, it's extremely sentimental for me. I just think of my sister. I think of being a little kid and watching MTV, and they write just these beautiful, bittersweet songs. It sounds like there's cobwebs covering them. There's just something to it. It just brings up a world in my mind.
Some people say that music videos ruined music. That was a popular sentiment at the time, probably from people who didn't want to make music videos. What do you think music videos did to music?
It really started asking bands and musicians to think about what kind of stories they wanted to convey with their music. I mean, if you're just purely about the music and you're a studio rat, or you look at it in this really, really kind of like pure way, then I can understand how that might seem like a distraction. But to me, music is always like this kind of visual, imaginal thing. I always kind of go somewhere, even if it's abstract, I always go somewhere in my mind's eye when I listen to music. So I don't know if I'd be the same person if I hadn't seen like Aerosmith, Jamie's Got a Gun. That was like one of my favorite videos when I was a kid. I always think about that video.
Sometimes I wish there were older music videos. Like, obviously
These
the Beatles,
days,
like those people made
yeah.
music videos.
They made
videos,
promotional
they made
films that
stuff.
were really, really
But
weird.
like, imagine if all the great bands of the 60s were making music videos. Like, you would see some incredible stuff.
The Beatles have some really weird music videos. Like they're essentially little films, and they're highly experimental. I think music videos, particularly in that early part of the 80s, before things became really homogenized and predictable and the industry sort of figured out what works, those early videos are so imaginative. The Take On Me video, and you think of countless videos that are basically made by art school kids that are thinking up things that have never been seen before.
And there's a chance for someone like Aha. They wouldn't have been huge if it weren't for that video. And that song was great, but it was like the music video vaulted that song. So they got a chance to go global.
Good for that.
When they probably
Yeah.
would have been, like, we wouldn't be
great.
talking about them to this day.
It's true.
Okay, a couple more songs.
Stone Cold classic. And another big part of the movie, Alphaville, Forever Young.
Yes.
It's actually Pachelbel's canon. Do you know that piece of music? It follows a certain kind of musical progression, and that's why that song works so well. I think it's because it's roughly quoting one of the most like goated pieces of music ever, basically, Pachelbel's canon.
So there's like almost a subliminal or subconscious reference point that the listener already has.
Yes, we've heard that. It's in our DNA. It's in our bones. That's just the beginning of what makes the song so amazing. And the lyrics are very strange, kind of haunting and very sad, but the music is uplifting.
Hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you going to drop the bomb or not?
What? It's so abstract and so suggestive of such epic things.
The tone that immediately, emotionally takes you to a very specific place.
That's right.
Okay, what about this one?
I'm going to get this one wrong.
This song is in my head all the time.
Let me just see if I can lock in for a second. Locking in. I don't know who sings this song. Is it Aha? No, it's not.
Naked Eyes.
It's Naked Eyes. That's right. Okay.
They blur together.
Yeah, some of those songs do.
I get a Christmas
Naked
kind of feel.
Eyes. Yeah,
that
because
for some
there's
reason puts me,
there's
like
sleigh bells,
right?
that I've never noticed before. And bells. Yeah, it's a banger.
It's always in my head for some reason.
Did they ever have another smash?
Let's see. It's mostly this one album.
They look great. They're all wearing white khaki slacks.
They fit in. Okay. What about this one?
Oh, I was really hoping you would put this on. This is in Marty.
Korgis.
Yeah, this is Josh's genius.
He found that.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, we need to put this in there.
Well, and
was it in the script too?
It wasn't, but there's an amazing sequence in the movie. Essentially, Marty Mauser, he lost, and now he has to go basically be an athlete as an entertainer, like not unlike the Harlem Globetrotters. And the Harlem Globetrotters actually in that sequence. Yeah. And originally, the needle drop that was in that scene, that's like a beautiful montage of them going all around the world entertaining crowds, was Krista Berg, Lady in Red. but it didn't quite work. I really wanted it to work, but because I love that piece of music.
So you're sitting in like an edit bay watching the scene with the music?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh yeah, we should manipulate the needle drop and do kind of like a weird edit of it. And Josh was just like, yeah, maybe. And I could tell he just wasn't feeling it. The next time I saw him, maybe a couple weeks later, this piece of music,
It's so good.
it's so sad. It's heartbreaking.
How do you think about making music for a movie versus making your own stuff versus producing for another artist?
Well, it's more similar to producing for another artist because you really, really want to understand what their dream is and what their vision is for their work and just help them. You do have to kind of put yourself secondary to the idea. And the idea is we're a team and we're trying to hit the idea as hard as we can.
And when you're working on a solo project, in some ways it's harder
It's harder.
because there's no one to balance it.
To me, it's harder to be alone because you second guess your own ideas much more than you would another person. Sometimes I might disagree with a director or have another opinion, and that's a conversation, but you don't really need to wrestle with that. You know, it's their project. On my own stuff, it's like an endless sort of wrestling with can I top it? Can I do better? Gets a little stale after a while, just having that sort of level of control over your stuff.
So it must be nice to be able to balance.
It's the best.
That you get to do all those.
It's such a treat.
What's next?
Take a break. I had to take a break. I'm going to do this thing called School of Song. Kind of like a master class. So I'll be kind of like putting
I've
on
heard
my
about this.
professorial cap.
So let's say I don't have really any training in music, but I want to like start in a really simple place. Where should I start?
I like this. There's a sampler that you can put on your phone. I'll send it to you later. But anyway, there's really basic ways of sampling music that you could do on an iPad or a phone or a computer or whatever. Chop up other people's music and rearrange it. I would say that's the best place to start.
Great to meet you.
Great
Thanks
to
for
meet
coming
you
on the
too.
show. Thanks for hanging out in the rain
Thanks.
with us. It stopped. It almost stopped.